Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nick.
And this is NFGeeks. All right, Nick, welcome to NFGeeks.
Great to be on.
Good to see you.
Absolutely.
This is a very special NFGeeks because Nick is the first sort of viewer of NFGeeks to actually be on NFGeeks.
Yes.
So that's a very special honor, and it's a very special honor for NFGeeks too, because it really means that NFGeeks is expanding, and other people are getting involved. And I always want new people on.
Yeah.
And new voices and new. Hopefully, one of my goals is to get every temperament on.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Absolutely.
So, and certainly, I want an NF rotation all the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
so
good.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. I mean, I've been a fan for about like 6 months or so now, and once I picked up on certain cues, I was like, this guy seems like he might be close to me. So
yeah, and it's actually pretty amazing.
It was very serendipitous how I messaged, and basically we found out that we were in proximity. So
yeah,
why not?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. It's really awesome, and it's great to get some new blood.
Nice
On NFGeeks. So this is
good.
Fantastic. So welcome aboard.
Oh,
all right, and Nick, why don't you tell our viewers what your Myers-Briggs personality type is?
So I am INFJ.
INFJ. All right.
Yet another one. I think this is like the fourth or fifth or
sure.
Something like
We
that.
love INFJs. So
nice.
INFJs all have a home on NFGeeks, and of course all the other NFs, and really all the other types too.
Yeah.
All right. So for our first episode, Nick, what I like to do with NFs is kind of go through the NF values and orientations of the NF temperament, and what I'd like you to comment on is how these manifest in your life. Personally, how close they are to you, where do you use them, how do they come out, even how they work against you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, just basically go through them. All right, so one of the ones that always come up with NFs is empathy, having an understanding of other people's feelings. So being able to stand in their shoes and understand what they're feeling, and when does this happen with you, and how does this manifest in your life?
Totally. Empathy for me, being an INFJ, I think it's extrovert feeling.
Okay.
So what I pick up on a lot is definitely facial cues, a lot of physical stuff that I can just tell when what kind of mood someone's in, and it's basically just being respectful of how they're feeling and how their position might be. It's not so much the kind of empathy where it's like taking your exact position and feeling it, but it's more of an observant, like I get how you feel, and I'm just going to respect it kind of socially.
Oh, great.
It's more of a social type exchange where certain niceties and such like that. So I think.
Has there ever been a moment where it was hurtful to you, not necessarily in a negative sense, but that was it hurtful or it worked against you, or what troubles do you have with it?
Totally, in remaining good to people, and this was more so when I was younger. As you get older, I feel like you do develop yourself to the point where, unfortunately, I think this is true of a lot of NFs, you have to put up a lot of defense barriers. So we're feeling and where empathy kind of come into play for me is more where work has worked against me, has in times not being so giving of yourself to absolutely everybody. Really holding that sacred. I mean, it's still about, to me, it's still about being good to everybody and giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. Where I feel like an NT thing might be the opposite, where it's like you have to impress me before I really give you
intellectually.
Yeah, you have to show me that you're worthy of my time or whatever.
Sure.
But for me, it's just the opposite. I still give everybody the benefit of the doubt. It's more or less until someone goes against something I value.
Sure.
That's when it becomes more of a struggle.
Right, and that's a good difference between NT and NF. That for NTs, it's when somebody goes against their rational process and it seems irrational.
Yeah.
That's when they have difficulties, and we have it's when it's against our values.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, that's good that talking about impressing them, intellectually.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly appreciate NTs
Yeah.
a lot, and obviously I have Alex here. But when they're on the comments,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes
Yeah.
I'm impressing them, and sometimes I don't care.
Okay.
So it depends on my mood. It depends on what they're saying, whether I think they're trolling, whether I think they're just, you know what I mean? Sometimes I go back and forth.
In my experience, if I'm gonna debate somebody,
Mm-hmm.
it has to be something that I'm fairly comfortable that, from
Sure.
a value standpoint, I can defend.
Oh, that's
Because
interesting. Well,
I don't know if it's a typical NF thing across the board, but for me personally, not the greatest debater, I have to say. I really do avoid unnecessary confrontation. I'm not afraid to say that. I mean, it's just It's just how I do feel.
The other NFs are going to agree in many different ways.
Yeah, I do feel it's a wired thing. Many times I would much rather be cooperative than be in a situation where I'm competing. And that does, and kind of relating it back to the empathy talk. How has it worked for me and against me? Where it works for me is that it can be inspiring to people, it can be motivating, and you really genuinely want to help somebody or inform somebody or teach somebody or something like that. If you have something that can be of goodness to them, even doing something like this, I feel like it's good. We were kind of talking a little bit before about an NF. Why I'm coming on here is more for an educational thing for myself.
Oh, that's interesting.
For anybody who's watching, not so much into kind of stating this theory and seeing where it will go. It's more about getting ideas and theories out there for use.
Overall, that's there's a lot of that about going on in NFGeeks, and it's interesting you say value, because when I'm in the comments, the values I'm operating off of are sort of protecting NFGeeks. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna, I feel like I need to protect the content and the people on it for a certain degree, and I also want to value NF process. The subjective process, the emotional process, even the mystical process. So I'm not interested. So I value that process. I'm not terribly interested in other processes. I mean, I am, of course, as a philosophy teacher, but I'm not. I'm doing my day job. I am, but on NFGeeks, I'm not, because I'm trying to really value NF.
Exactly.
So I have that. I'm always coming from that position.
Yeah.
So value is a great word to be using.
Yeah, and I'm not stating anything new in saying that.
No, not at all.
What I prefer more than, say, a good debate or a good discussion on theory is really it's more of an underdog defense thing.
Sure. I'm certainly more interested in a dialogue than a debate. Again, because I have values about the channel, I have no choice but to debate.
Of course, yeah.
But, again, in my day job, I don't care.
Yeah.
I like being nice and whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Another important value, you're talking about values, is intuition.
Yeah.
And that's obviously a big watchword for INFJ. So, what are your experiences with your intuition? Good, bad, right, wrong, scary? I've had scary, intuitive moments about things. In fact, I think that's when my theory is that's when NFs get the most. When our NF stuff seems the strongest is when we intuit something horrible. Like, oh boy, something is about to go right off the cliff, and that's when it's really strong. So, what's your experience with intuition?
Intuition to me is a couple different things.
Sure, let's hear it.
I'd say from more of a mystical standpoint of kind of just feeling, getting a good sense of like when something good or bad's gonna happen. Not so much. It's not so much that. It'll be more of kind of an after the fact thing. If a weird situation has occurred that I'm not going to say I predicted, but that I kind of had a flash of something and then something occurred. It's more of a, damn, I had this interesting circumstance where I thought of something and it happened.
Can you is there any specific example that comes to mind?
Okay, so we were just having a nice NF discussion before this, which I'm going to freely reiterate, which was...
Yeah, that's fine.
The other day, the most bizarre thing happened in the history of a living situation for me.
Okay.
Okay? A bullet had passed through my house. This was not this is not a shady neighborhood. The house that I live in is surrounded by a lot of woods that I used to go to when I was a lot younger, and spent a ton of time there throughout adolescence. And I haven't been there in probably about 8 to 10 years. It's been a long time since I've been back there. This is my parents' house, so I was there over the weekend, and I was having a discussion with somebody who works where I work. And he works on a crew where he has to wear an orange vest, a reflective vest. So we have the reflective vest, and that triggered the woods to me, because I said to myself, the woods that I spent so much time in was really highly occupied by hunters, and
Sure.
it was a prime hunting
Is
ground.
this you grew up near this forest? This
Exactly.
is almost like a backyard.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I
Yeah.
understand that.
And so basically, seeing this guy triggered this thought of like, damn, not only have I not been to those woods in a long time, but I haven't even thought of them. This is the first time I'm thinking. I said, I gotta get back there, because just to reminisce or whatever. And I thought of a specific location. I was like, I remember when I used to go there and do my NF things and just sit there and read or something. And I said, but this time, knowing that I'm a little bit older and a little bit more wise about what's going on there, it wouldn't hurt to like wear a reflective vest or something. Just to
Safety first.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm fine with that. When I bike, I wear a helmet. I don't care.
Thought about it, and then I said, yeah, no, that'll be ridiculous. Whatever. I'm not even gonna do that. Whatever. It's not worth it. So then, 6 hours later, this weird situation comes where a bullet passes through the house, lands right on the bed that my parents sleep on.
An actual bullet.
Yep.
A hunting rifle bullet.
Yep.
So pretty serious.
Oh yeah.
Like absolutely would have killed somebody.
Absolutely, yeah. Basically, someone was trying to fire a hawk or something like that, and arched up, landed coincidentally onto our house. Police ran the report, just found out that where they shot the gun from, an estimation was right around the woods that I had thought about earlier.
Wow.
So that's where the intuition plays in terms of kind of being almost mystical. But like I said, it's more of an after-the-fact thing. It's nothing I would have been like, hey, don't be in the...
No, that's right. Carl Jung himself talked about synchronicity.
Yeah.
Sort of between making a meaningful connection between events, and that was a part of growth and understanding the universe and all that. So if we frame it like that, it makes sense.
In a more practical way, it's where intuition plays for me. It's more of connecting the dots.
Sure.
And trying to always anticipate a situation. If you're gonna say, hey, I think that this might be a good idea, if it's an idea that you want to initiate, it would be the intuition for me would come in more or less piecing things together and saying, will that work? And doing it almost at rapid fire to the point where I don't feel bad in extroverting the judgment and saying, that's not going to be a good idea.
Like a good INFJ, holy cow.
And like a good INFJ, not really being able to explain it.
No.
Pretty much being able to put down or put up the idea and say that would be a great idea. We got to do it this way, or we don't have to do it this way.
Now, I find interesting when INFJs do that, it sounds more harsh than they mean it.
Totally.
Because you're just sort of blurting out the idea.
Absolutely.
And it's just sort of hitting somebody. Boom.
Yeah, when I go into that that judging mode, this is where if someone knew MBTI who I was talking to, they might say, it's kind of like it might be a thinker thing. It's not so much. It's just voicing my opinion on a certain idea.
Sure. I understand that.
Yeah.
Absolutely, as a fellow NF. All right. Another important piece of NF sort of orientations and things like that is identity. Having one's own identity. Or trying to discover your identity, shape your identity. What's your journey been? If you could mention briefly.
No, absolutely. Being identity conscious and not so much in just physical appearance.
Oh yeah, right.
That does have a play, but just being aware that you could even relate this to like an Enneagram. If you're a 4,
are you a 4?
Yes.
That's funny. INFPs and INFJs often become 4s.
And
not that I understand that.
I'm not going to get on the Enneagram thing, but for INFJ, I think that the relation why I brought up is because it's a high need to have, even if it's something that you're not really throwing out there too much to everybody, it's still something that I value. I do value having my own identity and being my own person, and not so much. It's like this duel between being the outsider and being just your own person. That's unlike anybody else.
Yeah, that's right. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Nick, thank you very much. We're out of time. So thank you.
Thanks.